Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Kamal Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics from Central University of Himachal Pradesh, Dharamshala. Today we are going to discuss on the module Indifference Curve Analysis Part 1 from the paper Managerial Economics. Learning objectives from these modules are: first, the meaning of utility, cardinal utility and the ordinal utility. Second, indifference curves. Third, budget line. And fourth will be the consumer equilibrium with indifference curve analysis. Now, the question is, what is utility or what is meant by utility? Utility refers to a satisfaction which a consumer attains after the consumption of goods and services. There are two types of utility. One is total utility and second is your marginal utility. Total utility means the sum of the utilities which a consumer derives after the consumption of all the goods and services which he consumes. Marginal utility means the change in the total utility after a change in the consumption of one more or one less unit of a good. Cardinal and ordinal utility analysis. Under the cardinal utility analysis, it propounds that utility can be measured in cardinal numbers, that is like 1, 2, 3, etc. Under cardinal utility analysis, utility is measured in units which are called utils. Now let's discuss the example of cardinal utility analysis. For example, when a consumer consumes 2 units of good Y, he can quantify the utility he derives in utils terms. Say, the consumer gets satisfaction or utility worth 10 utils from the consumption of first unit of Y good and 20 units from second unit of the same good Y. Now in total, he gets the satisfaction or utility worth how many units? That is 30 units by consuming 2 units of good Y. Now the value of the total utility is 30 utils. Similarly, here the value of marginal utility is equal to 10 utils. Why? Because as we move from consumption of 1 unit of good Y to second unit of good Y, the change is of 10. So the marginal utility is worth 10 utils in this example. Ordinal utility analysis propounds that utility is a psychic entity which cannot be measured in cardinal numbers. According to ordinal utility analysis, consumer can rank his or her preferences. For example, when a consumer consumes 2 units of Y good, he can tell that the satisfaction he has attained from the consumption of first unit was higher than, lower than, or same as that of satisfaction which he derives from consuming second unit of Y good. Indifference curves are one of the important tools of ordinal utility analysis which are used to understand about consumer behavior and later on to understand the concept of consumer equilibrium. Indifference curve. Indifference curve is a curve which shows the combination of two goods which a consumer consumes and which gives him the same level of utility or satisfaction. Indifference curve schedule. Now let us see how the indifference curve can be drawn. But before drawing the diagram, we need to understand the table. Now in this table, there are 4 columns which are showing the combinations of good X and good Y and the level of satisfaction. In combination A, consumer consumes 1 unit of good X and 20 units of good Y. And both these combinations are giving the alpha level of satisfaction to the consumer. Similarly, at combination B, 2 units of X and 16 units of Y. At C, 3 units of X and 13 units of Y. D, 4 units of good X and 11 goods of Y. And finally, at combination E, consumer is consuming 5 units of X and 10 units of Y. Remember that here at all combinations, consumer is getting the same level of satisfaction, that is alpha. Now the indifference curve, the graphical representation of the schedule which we have discussed in the above slide. Now here we are taking good X in the x-axis and good Y on y-axis. Now as shown in the table, At combination A, consumer was consuming 1 unit of good X and 20 units of good Y. So that is plotted as combination A. Similarly, at D, he was consuming 4 units of good X and 11 units of good Y. And similarly at E, he was consuming 5 units of good X and 10 units of good Y. When we join all the points or all the combinations A, B, C, D and D and E, we get a smooth convex curve shape which is known as indifference curve, which we have labeled as IC1. Now let's see what are the various assumptions on which the indifference curve analysis is based. There are primarily three important. One is completeness, second is transitivity, and third is non-satiety. Now according to the assumption of completeness, now this says that it is about the completeness of the ordering of the preferences. In our previous example, in the combination A and B of good X and good Y, consumer is able to give rank to his combination. Say A is preferred to B or B combination is preferred to A. Or it could be that consumer is totally indifferent between combination A and B. So this is about the completeness of the ordering of the preferences. Second assumption is about the transitivity. Preferences are assumed to be transitive. Now let's say there are three combinations of two goods X and Y, namely as combination A, combination B and combination C. If consumer prefer combination A over combination B and combination B over combination C, then according to transitivity assumption, combination A will be preferred over combination C. Third assumption is about non-satiety. Now, according to this assumption, wants are non-satiable, which means they cannot be satisfied. As one want is fulfilled, another one crops out, and more of any good is always desirable over lesser amount of the good. More is always better than less. Indifference map. Indifference map represents the entire family of indifference curves plotted in one diagram. This map represents the complete description of consumer preferences for all combination of two goods which the consumer consumes. This diagram gives us the indifference map. As we can see that good X is measured in horizontal axis and good Y is measured in vertical axis. Three indifference curves labeled U1, U2 and U3 are plotted in the figure. Each indifference curve represents the various combinations of good X and good Y, which gives the consumer same level of satisfaction. Indifference curve U3 represents consumption of more of a good X and good Y than the consumption level of good X and good Y at indifference curve U1. It also highlights that the higher indifference curve represents higher level of satisfaction. Marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate of substitution is one of the pillars on which the hypothesis of indifference curve stands. Marginal rate of substitution of X to Y is the maximum amount of Y good which the consumer is ready to sacrifice or pay for one additional unit of X good, holding the utility level constant. Numerically, we can see marginal rate of substitution X for Y is change in Y upon change in X, or the delta Y upon delta X. Now let us see the marginal rate of substitution between good X and good Y through a table. Here we are taking the above table. Here we are going to have 5 columns. In one column we are showing the combination of goods X and Y. Then on another we are showing the quantity of good X and good Y, and then marginal rate of substitution X for Y, and the level of satisfaction and utility. At combination A, consumer is consuming 1 unit of X and 20 units of Y. At B, 2 units of X and 16 units of Y. Similarly at D and E, he is consuming 4 units of X and 11 units of Y, and at E, he is consuming 5 units of X and 10 units of Y good. Now marginal rate of substitution, remember it is delta Y upon delta X. So when we find out the change will start coming from B combination, and this change is 4:1, 3:1, 2:1 and 1:1, and at all combination the level of satisfaction is alpha. Now this graph is giving us the graphical representation of the above table which we have discussed. Now this is showing the various combination of goods X and Y, that is A, B, C, D and E, and we can also see that when consumer is moving from point A to point B to point C to D and E, he is sacrificing certain units of Y for gaining one additional unit of X, and that is known as the margin of substitution. Now remember, both in this diagram as well as in this table, we have seen that this marginal rate of substitution is diminishing. Initially, consumer was ready to sacrifice 4 units of Y for good X. Then he is ready to sacrifice 3 units of Y for X. Then 2 units of Y for X. And last, he is ready to only sacrifice 1 unit of Y for 1 unit of X. Now let's discuss the properties of indifference curves. The various properties of indifference curves are: one, indifference curves have negative slope, they are convex to origin, two indifference curves cannot intersect each other, and various others. Indifference curve has negative slope. It simply means that it slopes downward to right. This property highlights that the combination of two goods which the consumer consumes should be substitute of each other, so that when the consumption of one good is increased, the consumption of other good fall, so that level of satisfaction remain same. The second property, that is indifference curves are convex to origin, they are based on the assumption of the diminishing rate of marginal substitution which we have discussed just now. The third property is about the two indifference curves, they cannot intersect each other. Now let us discuss this property that two indifference curves, they cannot intersect one another. Again, in this diagram we can see that we are taking good X and good Y on X and Y axis. Two indifference curves are there, U1 and U2, which are showing the various combination of X and Y for which the consumer is indifferent and the utility level are constant. There are two combinations each labeled out on indifference curve U1 and U2. Combination Z and combination T are on indifference curve U1 and combination Z and P on indifference curve U2. These two indifference curves intersect each other at point Z. Because of this interaction, contradictory results are derived. In indifference curve U1 at combination Z, we have 1 unit of X and 6 units of Y, and at combination T, we have 3 units of X and 3 units of Y. Similarly, in difference curve U2, there are two combinations Z and P. At combination Z, we have 1 unit of X and 6 units of Y, and at combination P, there are 3X and 5Y respectively. According to definition of indifference curve, the various combination of two goods on the indifference curve give consumer same level of satisfaction. But in above figure, Z is common combination in both indifference curves. So, if Z and T combination in indifference curve U1 gives same level of satisfaction, then similarly Z and P on indifference curve 2 also give same level of satisfaction. Then combination P and T should also give the same level of satisfaction. But this is not true, as we can see that at P combination we are having more amount of Y goods as compared to lesser amount of good Y at T combination. Higher indifference curve symbolizes higher level of utility. Now let's discuss the property of indifference curve, that higher indifference curve give higher level of satisfaction. Again, we are taking three indifference curve U1, U2 and U3. On this indifference curve, there are three different combinations, namely A, B and C. A combination on difference curve U1 exhibit 1 unit of X and 4 units of Y. Combination B on difference curve U2, it represents 2 units of X and 5 units of Y. And combination C on indifference curve U3 represent 3 units of X and 6 units of Y. These combinations show that combination C is on the highest indifference curve, that is U3, and it represents higher combination of both the goods X and Y. Similarly, all combination on U3 will represent higher combination of good X and Y, or more of good X and more of your good Y, which in turn means more of satisfaction and utility than combination of X and Y good on indifference curve U1 and U2. Indifference curves of special categories. Number 1. Perfect substitutes. Two goods are said to be perfect substitute of each other if the marginal rate of substitution is constant. It means that the various combination of two goods, consumer is willing to sacrifice same units of one good for having additional unit of another good. Now let's see what will be the shape of indifference curve in the case two goods are perfect substitutes. Here we can see that combination A represent 1 unit of x and 8 units of y, B combination 2 units of x, 7 units of y. Similarly at combination C and D, 3x and 6y and 4x and 5y are consumed by consumer. When all these combinations are joined, a straight line indifference curve is obtained, which shows that the various combination of x and y, which gives consumer same level of satisfaction, and it also exhibits that the marginal rate of substitution is constant, and the marginal rate of substitution will be constant in the case of perfect substitute only, and in the case of perfect substitute the indifference curve will be downward sloping straight line. Perfect complementary goods. Complementary goods are those goods which are jointly consumed together in fixed proportion. Example, left shoe and right shoe. Consumer has to buy both the shoes in some fixed proportion to fulfill a want. In the case of perfect complementary good, the indifference curve is L-shaped, which represent that at a specific point, infinite units of other goods are required to get an additional unit of good. It also shows that at a point, some fixed proportion of both goods are required. An increase in the quantity of x without an increase of quantity y and vice versa leaves the consumer at same level of utility. Now let us see that what will be the shape of indifference curve in the case the two goods are perfect complementary. Two things need to be understood. One, that in the case of perfect complementary goods as against to perfect substitute goods, the marginal rate of substitution for x to y will be 0. And second, indifference curve will be of L shape in the case of two goods are perfect complementary to one another. Consumer equilibrium using indifference curve approach. In economics, consumer equilibrium refers to a point where a consumer attains the maximum possible utility from the purchase of goods and services, given his income and price constraints. After attaining this position, the consumer has no tendency to change or move from this situation. Under indifference curve approach, consumer attains equilibrium when he attains maximum satisfaction given his income constraints. Maximum satisfaction or level of satisfaction which consumer derives by consuming goods is mapped through indifference curve, which have been discussed in above section. Income constraint is explained by budget line or price line. Budgetary constraints. Budgetary constraint or budget constraint is the limit on the consumption of goods and services that a consumer can afford or buy with his income. In two commodity x and y model, budget constraint can be written as px into qx plus py into qy, that is equal to my. In this case, px is the price of good x, qx is the quantity of good x, py is the price of y good, qy is the quantity of y good, and my is the money income of the consumer. Budget line. Budget line can be defined as a line which shows all the combinations of two goods which a consumer can purchase by spending his entire money income and with given prices of two goods. Now let us have a look at the table of budget line. Now again we are having 4 columns here. In 4 columns we are having combinations of good A, B and C and D, then units of good X, unit of good Y, given the price of good X and good Y. Here we see that the price per unit of good X is rupees 10 and price of good Y is rupees 20 per each. And the budget constraint with the consumer is having or facing is rupees 100. That means his money income is rupees 100. Now in this case we are having two extreme points or two extreme combinations. Let us have a look. At combination A, he is not consuming any units of good X, and then what will happen? He will only consume good Y. In this case, he will purchase 5 units of good Y in order to spend his entire income. Similarly, at point D, he is consuming only X good and no unit of good Y. So in this case, he will purchase only the 10 units of good X and 0 units of good Y in order to spend his entire income. Now remember, these are two extreme points or two coordinates which will join the price line or the budget line. In between there are number of combinations, for example B and C. At point B, he is having 4 units of good X and 3 units of good Y. So that will give him 100 rupees a level of money income. Then similarly at C, he is purchasing 6 units of good X and 2 units of good Y, and at where this equation will be solved, that is Px into Qx plus Py into Qy is equal to money income. Now let us have a look at the graph of budget line. Now this graph shows that the at combination A, consumer consumes 0 units of good X, and at here he'll consume 5 units of good Y. Similarly at combination B, he has 4 units of X and 3 units of Y. At C combination it is 6 units of X and 2 units of Y. And at D point he consumes 10 units of X and 0 units of Y. Now remember, we have discussed that combination A and D are the extreme point of the budget line. Joining all these points give us a line which is known as the budget line or the price line. Now this diagram also shows that the consumer can buy less and save some part of his money income, but he cannot buy more than his budget. The area under the budget line is also called the area of feasible purchase, and the outside area or the area on the right hand side of the line is called non-feasibility area. That simply means that all those combinations which are lying on the right hand side of the budget line, he cannot purchase them. The combination A and D are the extreme situations where consumer purchases either of a good only, but which is ideally not preferred, as it is against the basic tenets of budget line. And then the budget line has a negative slope, which reveals that if consumer wants to purchase more of one good, then he has to purchase less of other good. Slope of budget line. As mentioned in previously, that budget line has negative slope and it is equal to price ratio of two goods which the consumer is consuming. Mathematically, it can be shown as the slope of budget line is equal to delta y upon delta x, or the price ratio, that is px by py, with negative sign preceding this ratio. Shifts in budget line. Budget line can shift in two conditions, or there are two ways in which the budget line can shift. One is change in consumers' money income when prices are constant, and second, change in the prices of goods and services when money income is constant. Now let's discuss the first case, change in consumers' income when prices are constant. Under this, there's a variation in consumers' income. That means the consumer income may increase or decrease, but the prices of those goods which the consumer is consuming, they remain constant. Under this condition, the budget line will shift outside if the consumer's income increases, and it will shift inside if the consumer income decreases, again keeping the prices of both goods as constant. Now let us have a look at how the budget line shifts when there is a change in the consumer's income but the prices of both the goods, they remain constant. Now this figure tells that initially BL is a budget line. When income of the consumer increases, budget line shifts outward and becomes MN. And similarly, when the income decreases, budget line shifts inward and becomes CD, keeping the prices constant in both the cases. In the verb case, there is a parallel shift in the budget line. This is because only both intercept changes, but the price ratio remains same. The same effect will take place if the prices of both goods changes proportionately. Changes in the prices of the goods when money income is constant. Now we'll discuss a case when the prices of the goods which the consumer is consuming, they changes, but the money income which the consumer has, it remains constant. Under this case, as discussed in the prior cases, the budget line will not shift, rather it will tilt. For example, let us see what will happen if the prices of good X falls, but the price of good Y remain constant, as well as the consumer's income is constant. In this case, the budget line will tilt outside. Now let us have a look what will happen if there are changes in the price of goods and services while the money income is constant. As we can see that initially budget line is BL. When the price of good X fall, Keeping the price of Y and money income constant, budget line will swell and become BL dash. Similarly, if the prices of good Y falls, keeping the price of good X and money income constant, budget line will become B dash L. But remember, if both the goods prices they changes in the proportionately, then instead of swelling in the budget line, there will be the shift in the budget line. Consumer equilibrium with ordinal utility approach. In this, we'll discuss how consumer equilibrium is attained with the help of ordinal utility approach. For achieving consumer equilibrium with ordinal utility approach, two conditions must be satisfied. Condition 1 is about indifference curve and budget line, and it says that at the point of equilibrium, indifference curve should be tangent to the budget line. And according to condition number 2, at the point of tangency between indifference curve and budget line, indifference curve must be convex to the origin. Now let us explain the first condition of consumer equilibrium with indifference curve analysis, which says that at the point of equilibrium, indifference curve should be tangent to budget line. Now in this figure, we can see that BL is the budget line and there are three indifference curves, namely U1, U2 and U3. Indifference curve number U3 lies in non-feasible area, or it is beyond the budget of the consumer. Combination M and N of indifference curve U1 lies on the budget line B1, which indicate that these combinations are in the feasible space of budget, or consumer can afford to buy them. But consumer will not prefer these any of combination, as the combination E of indifference curve U2 also lies on the budget line. And remember, we have discussed that consumer always prefer more to less. So he will prefer that combination which is lying on the higher indifference curve E instead of M and N. So consumer attain maximum satisfaction or utility at point E, where the indifference curve U2 is tangent to budget line BL, and here the slope of indifference curve is equal to the slope of budget line. And remember that we have discussed that the slope of indifference curve is marginator substitution x is to y, and the slope of price line is px upon py, and at the point of equilibrium these two slopes are equal. Now this is about the second condition of consumer equilibrium, which says that at the point of tangency between indifference curve and budget line, indifference curve must be convex or marginal rate of substitution should diminish. If this condition is not fulfilled, then the equilibrium formed will not be stable one. Now let us have a look at the second condition of consumer equilibrium, that said that at the point of tangency, indifference curve should be convex to the origin. Now here BL is the budget line and initially U1 is the indifference curve, and the first order condition is fulfilled at point J, where slope of indifference curve is equal to slope of budget line. But here the second condition is violated. Instead of being convex, indifference curve is concave at the point of tangency. Now this equilibrium is not the stable one, as consumer can easily move from point J to point T or to point R by moving along the same budget line BL, and doing this he can reach higher indifference curve either U2 or U3. So in order to achieve consumer equilibrium, both conditions should be satisfied simultaneously. So students, let us summarize what we have discussed in this module. First, we started with the meaning of utility, which was the want satisfying power of a commodity. Then we moved on to the different type of utility, that is cardinal utility and ordinal utility, which told us that under cardinal utility, utility can be measured in util terms, but under ordinal utility, instead of measuring the utility in the cardinal numbers, utility can be given ranks. Then we moved on to the meaning of indifference curves. Indifference curve, which simply meant the point of the locus of combination of two goods which gives the consumer same level of satisfaction. Then we moved on to the meaning of marginal rate of substitution, which told us that it is the rate at which the consumer sacrifices one commodity for another commodity. Then indifference map, which simply means the family of entire indifference curve plotted in the same diagram. Then we discuss what are the various properties of indifference curves, which were like they are negatively sloped, they are convex to the region, higher than difference curve represent higher level of satisfaction, two indifference curves they never intersect with one another. Then we moved on to the meaning of budget constraint, which simply told us that it is the constraint under which the consumer has to perform his activities of consumption. Then we moved on to the meaning of budget line, which simply told us that line. It is a line which tells us the amount of goods and services which the consumer can consume given the prices of the goods and services as well as his income. Then we moved on that how this budget line it shifts under two conditions, when either the income of the consumer changes or the prices of the goods which he consumes they changes. Then we moved on to the meaning of the slope of budget line, which is the price ratio of two goods which the consumer is consuming. And then finally we discuss about the consumer equilibrium, that how the consumer equilibrium can be attained with the help of indifference curve. Under this, we studied that there are two conditions which need to be fulfilled if we want to get the consumer equilibrium. First was the condition of tangency, that at the point of equilibrium, indifference curve must be tangent to the budget line. And second was that at the point of equilibrium, at the point of tangency, indifference curve must be convex to the origin. Otherwise, the equilibrium which is formed will not be a stable one.